Welcome one and welcome all to Faces and Heels, your podcast for pro wrestling here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the recap and reaction to WWE's Fastlane, which took place tonight, October the 7th on Peacock. And this was it was kind of a mid pay-per-view. This isn't a big pay-per-view. Fastlane, it only had 5 matches, but nonetheless, it was decent. You know, we had some championship matches. You know, we had some familiar faces pop up. It was pretty cool to lead us into Survivor Series next month. But overall, I wasn't expecting, WrestleMania level matches from this card. But nonetheless, it is Fastlane. It is WWE. And we're going to go over it. We're going to react to all of these matches. All 5. The first match was Cody Rhodes teaming up with Jey Uso to take on the Judgment Day for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. We had the LWO taking on Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a 6-man tag team match. A triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship consisted of the champion Io Sky versus Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Also a tag team match with John Cena teaming up with LA Knight to take on the Bloodline. And our main event, a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, where the champion Seth freaking Rollins defending that championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. And let's start off with the first match of the night for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship, where the champions Judgment Day, consisting of Finn Balor and Damian Priest, taking on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, or should I say main event, Jey Uso. This match wasn't all that great. Normally, in recent years, the opening match of a pay-per-view has been, dare I say, the best match of the card. On certain shows. Now, not every show had that effect, and this was one of them. This was a all right match. It was 20 minutes long, and I think it went on 15 minutes too long. The most entertaining part of this match was the last 5 minutes of it, when we got the interference with Rhea Ripley and old Dirty Dom himself, along with JD Madonna. And it made it a little more interesting. Other than that, the match didn't really fire off. The crowd was kind of dead in it. It just it didn't have that pop. And I know they are preparing to push Jey Uso, and this is the test here to see how he would do without his brother Jimmy. And so far, going off of Raw and on to this pay-per-view, it's not working. I got to feel it's just not there. I believe that Jey can stand on his own. I believe that he can possibly challenge for a singles title, whether it's the Intercontinental or even the World Heavyweight Championship eventually. But right now, it's just not there. And I guess that's why we get this team up with him and Cody Rhodes. Now, that's also a head scratcher, because just a few months ago they were sworn enemies, and now they're teaming up to go after the tag team championships. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for you changing the character and having kind of an atonement, if you will. But just for this to go the way it went was kind of like, as far as the turn, You know, they never had a confrontation where they being Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, whereas they kind of buried the hatchet. It was just like, okay, it's over. You're not in the bloodline anymore. Now we're friends. You know, it was like Batman versus Superman all of a sudden, and for whatever reason, it is what it is. I am happy for Cody in a way at the end results of this. Well, the end result is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso won, defeated the Judgment Day to become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, which is good, which is fine. Now Cody finally has a title, and he needed this, I think. I didn't think he needed it until they won. And I was like, yeah, he really needed a title because we've been we've been subject to this push from Cody to whereas he was just going to come and challenge Roman and, you know, get the titles or whatever the case may be. But after WrestleMania, he failed to obtain the titles. All right, that's cool, but he needs to have something around his waist. I don't know. I don't care if it was the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title, the World Heavyweight title, something. He needed something around his waist. Didn't think it would be the Tag Team Championships, but okay, he got it. But he has those titles. Happy for him. Now let's see where this leads with him and Jay going forward. Who are going to challenge them for those titles, or what is going to happen with that alliance? And will this kind of derail or prolong Cody's ultimate prize of finishing the story and capturing the world championship from Roman? Questions. But we shall see. Once again, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeat the Judgment Day to become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Speaking of tag teams, we had a 6-man tag match up next, in a match between the LWO, who was undermanned going into this match, with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar escorted to the ring by Zelina Vega, versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. The Street Profits took out the rest of the NWO, not NWO, but the LWO on SmackDown, which was pretty cool. That was awesome, the way they were just manhandling the LWO and left the LWO undermanned. So this was basically a handicap match tonight, you know? And basically this match went the way I thought it was going to go, in the worst kept secret of wrestling history, I guess you could say. Or in case you weren't wondering, who was going to come out and assist the LWO, it was Carlito. Carlito returns to help the LWO defeat Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in this match that lasted 11 minutes. And that was about right. That was about right. It was an all right match. Decent. Nothing to set the world on fire. I could have watched this on Raw or SmackDown. It was like, okay, you know, other than the fact of Carlito coming out and getting the win, you know, it was nothing to this match that was exciting. And I never thought that I would not be interested in Rey Mysterio wrestling. Never. And it's crazy because I love Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio, he's getting older, of course, and he's a bit slower than he used to be. It looks like it's about that time. I know he still has something in the tank. He does give it the best that he could give every time he touches the ring, but it's just not that same Rey Mysterio that I'm used to love and stop everything to watch his matches. You know what I'm saying? But I understand he's getting older, just like we're all getting older. He's basically there to kind of, you know, pass the torch on to Santos Escobar, which is kind of weird because at one point I thought that was what he was doing with his son Dom, but Dom then went to a whole nother level, and he is Dom is his own man. He's his own man over there with Judgment Day, and I'm proud of him because I remember a time when I couldn't stand to see Dominic wrestling with his father and everything. It was a cute little story, but it ran its course very early, and I was like, man, send him to NXT or something. But all of a sudden, something clicked, and Dominic became just one of one all of a sudden. But in any event, LWO gets the victory with the assist of Carlito by defeating Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in this 6-man tag team match. Up next, we have the triple threat match for the women's WWE Championship with the champion Io Sky defending her championship against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Now, before this match, we saw that Jade Cargill is in the building. In case nobody knows, if you've never watched AEW, Jade Cargill was a beast over there. You know, she was green. She was green, but they built her up to be this dominant force over there at AEW. And it was cool. And it was kind of weird for her to come over to, you know, WWE, because that was the star. Jade Cargill was the female star over there, but she never wrestled all the other females. They kind of hid her for some strange reason. Like I said, she was green, but I don't think she ever had the opportunity that she rightfully deserved over there, to be honest with you. And I didn't watch much of AEW, but the little that I did watch of her, I thought she had great potential to kind of take over that women's division. But now she's with the WWE. I think this is a great fit for her. And so to see her arrive at the arena, you knew that there was going to be something that was going to take place involving Jade Cargill and probably one of these three women involved in this match. In a match, mind you, that is probably the one match that I'm super excited for tonight. That was my one match that I looked at and I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this one play out. Well, we didn't get the involvement or even a stand on the stage from Jade Cargill in this match, and it's cool. You know, we don't need to rush it. We don't need to rush it. She's there. We know that she is in the WWE, and that's basically what that was. An announcement to let you know she is here. But this match, what a match. Real good match. Triple threat match. We start off hot. We start off with the Mist and taking Charlotte Flair out of the match for a few minutes and, you know, allow us to see Io Sky and Asuka go at it one-on-one for a while, and, you know, Charlotte come in, do Charlotte Flair things, and it was a good match. It was a good match. Didn't care for the ending, how it ended, but it was good to see Io Sky retain. And this, you know, who knows what's next for Io Sky and Damage Control moving forward. But as far as this match is concerned, the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship, it was amazing. I thought it was one of the best matches of the night. Io Sky retains her championship by defeating Asuka and Charlotte Flair by pinfall. This match was 17 minutes long, and it was the right amount of action. It wasn't a dull moment in this match. Very exciting. Decent outcome. Didn't like how we got to the outcome, but so is life. And so we move on to our next match, and it is a tag team match where we saw L.A. Knight, teaming up with John Cena to take on the Bloodline, which is Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And Paul Heyman was in the corner of the bloodline, of course. I'm gonna tell you something. I was kind of shocked by this match. I thought this was going to be a bathroom break match, to be honest with you, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. John Cena still got it. You know, I mean, comparing it to his WrestleMania match with Austin Theory, this was awesome. You know, that Austin Theory match at WrestleMania was, oh my God, John Cena, he looked slow. It looked like he really didn't want to be there. You know, it was bad. And I was like, well, this is it for John Cena. Well, this go around, he actually carried the load. He carried most of this match. LA Knight was on the sideline, unable to tag LA Knight, and John Cena took all of the Bloodline's assault, I guess you could say, at the beginning of this match. I was impressed. I was impressed. It was good, fairly well paced. Now, the reason why I was kind of shocked by that is because John Cena and LA Knight are up there. They're in their 40s. They're old. By wrestling standards. They're old. And they were keeping up with Solo and Jimmy. They were doing the best they can. But the match really did have a nice pace to it, and I did enjoy it. The tag team match between John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline, where we saw John Cena and LA Knight come out victorious. The really good match. I think this is going to be a kickoff point for LA Knight versus Roman. I think we are setting that up. It's inevitable. I think this is the next opponent for Roman going forward. So, is this the Kickstarter? I don't know, but this will be the perfect time while the iron is hot to go ahead on and pull that trigger with LA Knight. And so our next match, the final match, the main event of the evening, last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, where we have our champion Seth freaking Rollins taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, and this is a rematch from last month's pay-per-view. What was it called? I don't even remember, but this is a rematch of that kind of a lackluster match. It wasn't a bad match, but it was just mid, and so making this a last man standing match kind of adds a little hot sauce to it, a little more flavor to it, and I'm all for that because it needed that. Really didn't need it because these are two well-established performers, two of the best workers in the business. Seth Rollins has been, money for years in WWE, and Shinsuke, around the world, in Japan and even in NXT. Kind of took a step back when he got to the main roster, but I don't think that was his fault. But you really didn't need to put a stipulation like this on it. But hey, I'm glad that they did. The match was pretty much everything that it was built up to be. It was a very, very chaotic match. Every foreign object you could think of was used. We went into the crowd several times. We saw table spots, chair spots, miss spots. Everything you could ask for was in this match. With that being said, as enjoyable as it was, and it was an enjoyable match, it kind of left me scratching my head. As much as I'm a fan of Seth Rollins, as much as I'm enjoying his run as the World Heavyweight Champion, this match really just blew my mind because they made him invincible. They made him basically an unstoppable force, man. How can you beat him? Shinsuke Nakamura hit Seth Rollins with everything. And I'm talking figuratively and literally. Everything you can possibly use in this match was used in this match. And we go into this match with the storyline built up that Seth Rollins' back is bad. They used it at the last pay-per-view Payback. That's what it was. At Payback. So he's coming in here not 100%, got a hurt back, and Shinsuke Nakamura worked his back all the way through the match. I mean, hitting him with chairs in the back, sending him through tables, back first, hitting him with the miss, and throwing him off top of a ladder through a table, everything. And none of that stopped him. Now, I know Seth Rollins is the face here. We want to build him up. He's the champion. I get all that. But it got to the point where I was like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense to me. I really want a believable match. And I know it's wrestling. I get it. But I want a believable match. I mean, who can step up and beat Seth Rollins? I can't think of nobody. After watching this, other than a Mack truck, and even then, I think Seth Rollins would kick out. But it is what it is. With all that complaining, I enjoyed the match. It was fun. It was entertaining. But at the end of the day, in the last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth freaking Rollins retains his championship by defeating Shinsuke Nakamura. I think this was an all right pay-per-view. All right. This match was 28 minutes long. It was the longest match of the night, and it felt like it. But this was an all right pay-per-view. To give my grades on each match, let's go back to match 1 of the night, where we crowned new undisputed tag team champions, with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeating the Judgment Day to become the undisputed tag team champions. I give that match a C+. It was a decent match. Nothing to write home tell mother about. Business didn't really pick up until the end of the match, but it was a good match at the end of the day. C+ for the undisputed tag team championship match. The second match of the night, LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, where LWO, with the assistance of Carlito, defeat Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in his 6-man tag team match. It gets a C-. It was all right, and it was the shortest match of the night, which is weird, being as though it consisted with the most people in a match. There were 6 people in this match. It was the shortest match of the night, but it was what it was. It was basically a match you could see on SmackDown any Friday night, and that's why it's at the lower end of this card. Our third match, which is the triple threat match for the Women's WWE Championship between champion Io Sky, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair, where Io Sky retained her championship, gets a letter grade of a B. I thought this was one of the better matches of the night, if not the best match of the night. Very entertaining. It told a story. It was exciting at times. It was a couple of near falls by all 3 women in this match. I think they gave it their all. They really did. It was a good match. Really, really good match. It was the standout of the night for me. The next match, our 4th match on the card, John Cena returns and teams up with LA Knight to defeat the Bloodline in a tag team match. This match gets a C+. It was all right. It was all right. It's really nothing you can say about this other than the fact that um I think we're going to get a big push from LA Knight following this match. But what's really kind of disturbing about the match is the fact that you really sit back and think, and this is what I was doing after. I'm like, man, the bloodline has been suffering since SummerSlam. Actually, a little bit before SummerSlam. Bloodline has just took a nosedive. It's sad because that was the best storyline in wrestling. And all of a sudden, it's just bleh. Now they're losing. They were a dominant force. Now they're losing and losing members, and there's dissension among the ranks. It's not looking good for the bloodline. But we got to move on, so it's all good. Our final match, of course, was for the World Heavyweight Championship in a last man standing match where we saw Seth freaking Rollins defeat Shinsuke Nakamura. This gets a letter grade of a B minus. Very entertaining, yet confusing at the same time. I look, I'm not mad that Seth Rollins retained. It was just kind of unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. I didn't feel it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't feeling the vibe. I was enjoying what was going on in the match, but the outcome was kind of like, you know, because you sat there and witnessed all this stuff Shinsuke Nakamura was putting Seth Rollins through. To be honest with you, Shinsuke was in control of this match the entire match, or a vast majority. I don't know. It just was what it was. But yeah, overall, Fastlane, I'm glad it's over. It's over. We can move on. I think our next pay-per-view is Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. The beginning of next month, if I'm not mistaken. And then Thanksgiving weekend, we have Survivor Series. So it's going to be a busy month next month. I don't know. I don't know what's ahead. I know Roman Reigns is returning. Finally. Feels like it's been months, which has been a couple of months, but it feels longer than that. We haven't seen the Tribal Chief, but he returns to SmackDown this upcoming Friday. There's a lot going on at NXT this Tuesday with a lot of main roster talent going down there. I don't know what's the reasoning behind that. I guess we have to tune in to watch. Even Undertaker is being teased to being on NXT this Tuesday. So what's going on at NXT? NXT has been holding its own by itself. It hasn't really needed main roster interference to stand on its own. So I don't know what the reason why we getting so much Raw and SmackDown superstars to kind of jolt ratings or whatever. I don't know what the reason is, but either way, I'll be watching it. So it is what it is. But moving on, yes, Fastlane was a mid pay-per-view. It was what it was. We'll see what's popping moving forward. In case you haven't heard the news, I don't know whether you want to believe it or not, CM Punk is in talks with WWE for a return. And it would be fitting. I think Survivor Series is in Chicago. So that makes sense. If he's gonna come back, I think it's gonna happen. I don't think that CM Punk is gonna go quietly into the night. He's gonna make a comeback. And to be honest with you, as much of a polarizing figure CM Punk is, and how much he disagrees with the WWE management, WWE is where he belongs. Let's be honest. WWE, I don't want to say made him, but you know, you get where I'm trying to come. He needs to be. This is his home. You know, we all have jobs or had jobs or whatever the case may be where the boss sucked. You know, even if you were the boss, and you just had to stomach it and do what you had to do. I mean, he just got to do what he has to do. Plus, this is a new ownership group. Is no longer owned by Vince McMahon, so maybe that could be a uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? An attractive element to his return. You know, I think there's a lot of good he can do in the WWE. I guess that's the point I'm trying to get at. But anywho's, I don't know. We shall wait and see. I would like to know, how did you feel about Fastlane? Did you think this was a good pay-per-view, or are you like me? It was something to do on a Saturday night. You know, nothing else was on TV. I would like to know, and I also want to know, what are your thoughts about CM Punk possibly coming back to WWE? What do you think is well, not next, but on the horizon for Jade Cargill? What's her plans moving forward? Who will she challenge first on the roster? Let me know by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video. And don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to Faces in Heels, right here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap and reaction to WWE Fastlane. Can't wait to speak to you next month when we look at, are we going to do Crown Jewel? We'll see, because Crown Jewel comes on at a funny time. Yeah, it comes on during the day, and so I'll have to see how that goes. Just keep your ears to the street. Who knows? But we'll definitely be back for Survivor Series. Until then, you all be blessed.